How many people have read my book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad? Would you raise your hand? Thanks. For those that haven't, don't worry, I'll be talking a little bit about it today. But before I begin, I want to thank all of you for being here. Single largest audience I've ever spoken to, so my knees are a little shaky. And I want to thank the Yeager family for having me here. I'm honored to be in the presence of such alive people, so thank you very much. Before I begin, I'll give you a quick synopsis of my background. As I said, my name is Robert Kiyosaki. It sounds like Kawasaki. I wish it was Kawasaki. I would be a playboy in Tokyo today. But the name is Kiyosaki, and I am fourth generation Japanese American. I was raised in Hawaii, and when anybody comes up to speak to me in Japanese, I will have no idea what you're saying. I'm going to talk about Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and it's a true story. Some people come up to me and say, is it really a true story? I go, yes, it is. One's about my real dad, who was a PhD in education. Brilliant man. He graduated from university in less than 2 years. He then went on to Stanford University, the University of Chicago, and Northwestern University. The guy was an academic genius. And then my other dad was my best friend's father. And my best friend's father was a high school dropout. Now, guess which was the rich dad? The guy that dropped out of school, because he didn't go to school. He didn't mess his mind up. Anyway, both dads recommended I go to college anyway. So Rich Dad, Poor Dad is about the story of these two different fathers recommending different things for me. For instance, my poor dad, the PhD, he always said to me, go to school, get good grades so you can find a nice, safe, secure, what? Job. And that was good if you were born before 1950 or 30, but today there isn't really a safe, secure job. They don't pay that well anyway. And what my rich dad said to me was, don't listen to your old man, listen to what I have to say. And my rich dad said to me, don't work for anybody else, build businesses. And what he said to me was, thank you. So I have, since a little kid, have been building. And I talked to them about one of the businesses that some of you may have heard of, and I was one of the first nylon and Velcro wallet people in the world. We built that company, took it way up very quickly, became very successful, and went down very quickly, but we still launched it. One of them I'll be talking to you today about is really more, not so much about my rich dad, but my poor dad. Because in many ways, is when I made enough money in 1940, when I was 47, I said, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? This was in 1994. And what I decided to do was keep doing what I was doing, is build companies. But also I realized I needed to become a teacher like my poor dad, because I'm really more like him than my rich dad. So what I'm doing these days is I'm actually teaching, because my poor dad was a great teacher, brilliant, brilliant teacher, great leader. I'm going to be teaching what my rich dad taught me. So that's what I'm doing today, and that's why I wrote this book, and that's why I'm here. So thank you. And so my rich dad said to me, he says, when you talk to your banker or your real estate agent, to your account, generally says your house is an asset. He says, they're inaccurate. That's why they're not rich. And so what rich dad taught me, the difference was between an asset and a liability was dependent upon the word called cash flow. That's what made something an asset or a liability. So if the cash flow flowed into your income or into your pocket, then it was an asset. So I'll say it again. So if the cash flowed into your pocket, it was an asset. I was 9 years old. This is not that tough. I understood that. I said, that's good. For those of you who want something exciting, go and read a dictionary or a financial book, what they define an asset as, and you'll get really confused. And so this is the cash flow pattern of an asset, and this is the cash flow pattern of money from your pocket. And so what I was talking about in Rich Dad, Poor Dad is my poor dad always said to me, he said, our house is our biggest investment. And my rich dad said to that, if your house is an investment, you're in trouble. And it says it is our biggest asset. And my rich dad said, if it's taking money from your pocket, it's not an asset, it's a banker, the money lender. So the reason the average middle class person cannot get ahead is, number one, they think their house is an asset, but it's really a liability. Their car is an asset or liability. A liability for most people. And they got credit card debt, vacation debt, they got their suits and ties and their Gucci shoes, and they're in debt up to their eyeballs with credit cards. And what this looks like over here, if you notice here, that's not too intelligent. That's why you find a lot of people who've gone to school, PhDs, etc., they have high academic intelligence, but very low what? Financial intelligence. And so what they're not in control of is their cash flow. If you want to be successful, you've got to change the direction of the flow. Because this pattern over here, what that looks like, if you look at it going down into the liability column, out the expense column, it looks like one of those treadmills. You know, I go to the gym, it looks like this. So what happens to an individual is they go to school, they get the good grades, they graduate, and they get themselves a job. And they're doing pretty good, you know. 22 years old, 23 years old. Then they go and they meet the boy or girl of their what? Dreams. And they decide to get what? Married. And the boy or girl of the dreams doing the same thing. They got two incomes. They say, well, two incomes can live just as good as what? One. They decide to get married, and now they're going like this. So the first thing they got to buy when you get married is a banker tells you, you got too much income, so you're paying too much in taxes, so you better buy a what? House, because the government's going to give you a tax break for it. Anytime the government gives you something, be careful, okay? I don't trust them that much. So here's this young couple, now they got a mortgage, and they're going like this, and they're working really hard, and they're going, oh yeah, I'm a hard-working individual. But all of a sudden they're short of cash now, so they got to work harder, so they make the boss richer. They pay more in taxes, and they're making the bank rich, and of course they got to buy a BMW to match their lifestyle of their house. And so they're like this, yeah, we're doing really good, hard-working people, you know. And then all of a sudden, she says to him, guess what, dear? I'm going to have a what? Baby. Oh, so wonderful. And the child comes, and pretty soon the old guy's like this. He's working hard. He's running down. He's in this. This is called a rat race. He's going to work. He's busting his you know what. He's working hard. He gets another pay raise. The government takes more, and he gets further into debt because he's got to buy a bigger house because the government said go into debt because you get mortgage deduction. Okay, good. I'm working hard. And you come up to him and you say, hey, I want to show you a plan. What do you mean you're going to show me a plan? I don't have time to look at the plan. I'm so busy working hard. Am I right? Because they went to school, they may be academically intelligent, but they're not too what? And what they say to you is, I'm feeling, what's the word? Fine. And what they're really saying to you is that they're feeling what FINE stands to is they're feeling financially insecure, neurotic, and emotional. How many people have ever felt fine in your life? And that's what happens when you're not too financially intelligent here. Financially intelligent is you go up to them and they're like this, you know? And you say, well, how's your money? Oh, no problem, I'm doing good, you know. I'll get a pay raise in 3 years. Oh, yeah. I'm going to buy a bigger house, get a tax break, you know. Those words. I can tell an employee by their words. When somebody comes up to me and says, I'm looking for a nice, safe, secure what? Job with benefits, I know I have somebody who comes from the value system of an employee, the mindset of it. When I meet somebody who says to me, I charge $100 per hour, or I just can't seem to find good employees, or my commission rate is 6%, generally they're self-employed. The problem that I found in education, academic education, is they tell people, my poor dad said was go to school and find a nice, safe, secure what? Job. This is my poor dad's advice. And what my rich dad said to me was don't bother with that, go this way, build companies, build businesses. My rich dad said to me, if you want job security, own the company.